Except we're in Paris, Kentucky, where 30-year-old Bass Webb has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. This surveillance video taken outside a Kentucky jail a week earlier captured the moment when Webb, a former inmate there who served 3 months on assault charges, accelerated his car and tried to run over 2 jail employees. One man was able to get out of the way, but one man was injured after Webb's vehicle pinned him against a wall. At his first court appearance before Judge Vanessa Dixon, Webb's bad behavior continued. Judge Dixon then informed Webb she's recusing herself from the trial because she knew the 2 jail employees he targeted with his vehicle.
There's no way I want to try this case or have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for one further setting. Set for the hearing next week.
Watch again as Webb literally spit on the judge. But this incident is far from the last time Bass Webb will spit in the face of the law. While waiting to go to trial, he and 4 other inmates incited a riot inside the Fayette County Detention Center. After being shot with beanbag bullets, and hit in the neck by a pepper ball, Webb whips a metal telephone box at a corrections officer.
If I were to launch this at someone 10 feet away, because this is capable of stopping that, does not mean that that is not readily capable of causing death or serious physical injury.
Webb was found guilty of 3rd-degree assault and sentenced to 15 years in prison. And for his attempt to run over the 2 jail employees, he was later found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder and got an additional 37 years. Bass Webb was facing a total of 52 years behind bars, but more disturbing accusations were on the way. While incarcerated, he was charged with the unsolved murder of an ex-girlfriend. Facing a possible death sentence if convicted at trial, Webb pled guilty to the murder and got an additional 50 years. Now, 5 years later, Bass Webb is back in court yet again after being charged with the murder of a different girlfriend nearly a decade earlier. The cold case came back to haunt him after a jailhouse tip led to the discovery of the woman's remains. This time, as he's let in, he reveals a new sinister look that shocks those in attendance. A closer look at Webb's recent head tattoos reveals a demented murder hit list. It reads, "Those that must die, all judges, all prosecutors, all cops, the media." Below that, 3 rats have been scratched out, and many more, plus an expletive on the other side. Gruesome details emerge about how Webb choked his then-girlfriend to death and buried her body in a shallow grave.
Mr. Webb, do you want to come forward?
When the judge asks Webb to come forward, he remains seated and smiles. Finally, after more than a week in the courtroom, the judge reads the jury's verdict.
You have found the defendant guilty of the offense of intentional murder.
Bass Webb is then sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Sit down and be quiet.
Our next story takes us to Las Vegas, Nevada, where Judge Douglas Herndon's presiding. The defendant is Gary Walters, who's on parole for various financial crimes. He's in court today over restitution he was ordered to pay as part of his sentence.
I've been making my payments. I've been on Social Security. I've been paying what I can in restitution.
Okay.
All of a sudden, he says, you got to pay $26,000 a month.
As Walters makes his case, there's a man standing a few feet behind him. And the judge takes notice.
You're going to have to go back to the original court and then possibly...
Hold on a second. Who's this guy staring at me over here?
This is Kim Blandino.
I'm a co-plaintiff in the civil case.
Kim Blandino has nothing to do with this criminal case, and he's not even a lawyer. But he is a co-plaintiff in a civil suit that Walters has filed against his former attorney. Blandino has earned a dubious reputation for filing frivolous motions and joining civil suits where he has no affiliation. But Judge Herndon is not about to let Blandino disrupt his courtroom.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No, not at all.
Then you need to sit down and quit staring at me like somehow you need to talk to me or whatever.
I do need to.
Pardon?
Can I make a record?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to make a record about you in a minute, but you need to sit down and be quiet because you're not a plaintiff or a defendant in my criminal case. You're not an attorney. You can't appear in my criminal case and act like an attorney, so sit down and be quiet. Mr. Walters, go ahead.
Walters continues, but when Blandino physically reacts to Judge Herndon's comments, the judge has a few choice words for him and his habit of acting like an attorney.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You want to act like an asshole, act like an asshole, but I'm telling you, that gets you nowhere in court. And you know what else gets you nowhere in court? Sitting in the audience of a court while a judge is engaging with somebody and shaking your head and being all demonstrative. So get out.
I'm sorry, it was inadvertent.
No, it wasn't inadvertent. Don't give me that. It's not inadvertent. It's never, get out. It's never inadvertent when you come in and act all disrespectful to people.
Blandino exits, but feeling disrespected, he later files a motion to have Judge Herndon disqualified from the case. The motion was denied.
State Nevada versus Kim Dennis Blandino.
18 months later, Blandino's back in court, but this time as a defendant. He's been charged with extortion and is under house arrest. He has a hearing before Judge James Bixler, who's well aware of Blandino's history as a wannabe litigator. Blandino's representing himself, but the court has appointed Steve Alter as co-counsel, which puts Blandino in a combative mood.
Mr. Alvig, will you accept appointment as standby counsel?
I have an objection.
Shut up.
I have a right to object, I believe, Your Honor.
You have the right to get held in contempt of court. And that's what's going to happen if you don't shut up. I'm not putting up with any of your crap here today. Your reputation has preceded you. Will you accept appointment on him as standby counsel?
Your Honor, I can. However, Mr. Blandino, after we spoke outside, wanted a little bit of time to speak to me in detail about his case and his desires, and then also to look into my background a little bit before he would agree.
He wanted to interview you?
Yes, sir.
I object to that laughing, Judge.
I object to you. I think the defendant has already categorized himself as a vexatious litigant.
I object.
You can object all you want.
Can I make a record?
No.
I've got a motion.
What did I just say? What did I just say? No.
I can't say anything.
No.
Blandino refuses to quit, to the point where others in the courtroom begin reprimanding him.
Shut up. Shut up. You're getting real close to getting remanded.
Blandino finally gets the message and agrees to meet with the court-appointed counsel.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I think you're very impatient, though, sir.
Blandino remained under house arrest for extortion and impersonating a public officer. We've all heard of a judge throwing the book at someone for their crimes, but you're about to see a judge who's throwing a book for a whole different reason. Lawyers and a judge are trying to select a jury, a critical step in ensuring a fair trial. The defendant is Jose Azucena, who's charged with 40 counts of sexual misconduct, including kidnapping and rape of a minor. It's day 2 of jury selection, and Azucena's attorney is interviewing a prospective juror who sits off camera. The judge listens on.
So can you be fair to both sides?
I think I would be biased.
You're off this jury, but you didn't say that yesterday.
It looks like the judge has taken issue with a potential juror,
Well, I said I had
No,
other
listen, what we're not gonna have in this jury is people coming in overnight and thinking up and trying to make up now so they can get out of the jury. That's not gonna happen, all right? Right, because if I find that someone said something yesterday under oath and changes it because they're trying to fabricate something to get out of serving on this jury, there's gonna be repercussions.
The judge is unsatisfied and demands an explanation.
What's going on here? Tell me what's going on.
I said I had other issues yesterday, and you said you'd get back to me.
All right, so why you got issues? Why can't you're saying that you can't be fair and impartial to both sides? You're going to completely throw out our entire justice system because you don't want to be fair and impartial.
Disgusted with the juror, who happens to be a nurse, the judge throws a book, which turns out to be a pocket-sized version of the U.S. Constitution, against the wall. Things are heating up, so attorneys attempt to intervene.
Your Honor, may we approach? Your Honor.
You can't approach. You're not going to be fair and impartial.
Like I said, with my nursing history, and I've been involved with child abuse, and I've been involved with incest with young girls that deliver 13 years old. It makes me rather, biased.
Now, you're off this jury. You're off this jury. You're removed. Go home. All right?
The nurse is excused from jury duty, not before the judge gets in one last remark.
I don't like your attitude.
The case against Azucena eventually makes it to trial, and he's found guilty. He's sentenced to life in prison, but that's not where the story ends.
You're saying that you can't be fair and impartial to both sides.
The Nevada Supreme Court overturns the conviction, claiming Judge Scotti created an intimidating environment which tainted the jury panel. Azucena is awarded a new trial and a new judge. Until then, he remained in custody. Although Scotti apologized for the incident, his outburst resulted in ethics charges, courtesy of the Nevada Commission of Judicial Discipline.
You're removed. Go home. All right? I don't like your attitude.
We head to Orlando, Florida. The defendant is 39-year-old Jeremy Dewitte. He's been charged with impersonating a police officer. Dewitte runs a company that provides private security escorts during funeral processions.
I'll get the light before the bridge, you get the light after the bridge.
It's a legitimate business that Dewitte is authorized to operate.
Get to me, get to me, get to me.
What he's not authorized to do is direct traffic.
Go past me, go past me. Repo, take this intersection and keep this under control.
Weave through traffic at illegal speeds.
I just did 110 down this road.
Or, most notably, pull over.
Hey, pull over,
and confront drivers while dressed somewhat like a real officer.
What are you doing? What the does it look like I'm doing, dumb? Get the over before you find out.
Stop pretending you're a police officer.
Listen, I know what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do. What you need to do is figure it the out before you start talking.
With such blatant behavior, the local media gets wind of what Dewitte is up to. Before long, he appears on the radar of the real police. And in 2019, after police observed him breaking traffic laws, he's arrested while working a funeral.
Who is this guy? Oh, that's Jeremy right there?
When officers question Dewitte about the registration of his motorcycle, which comes up as stolen, he becomes livid.
Sergeant, my vehicle's not stolen, Sergeant. I can tell you right now, everything's being videotaped on my body cam, Sergeant. Okay, you're I have the registration for the vehicle, Sergeant.
Officers search Dewitte and find an arsenal of police gear, including handcuffs, mace, and a baton.
Because the Honda was stolen, and we got the tag back from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and then we registered it to that motorcycle.
But as Dewitte loudly attempts to explain the situation,
In the car, dude.
officers have had enough.
You just chill. If it's an issue, we'll figure it out. But you screaming and yelling isn't going to change that. Well, just sit tight.
Okay.
Dewitte's charged with impersonating an officer and released on bond. But while out on bond, police get a warrant for Dewitte's own body camera and find a wealth of incriminating footage, including more pullovers.
Get the over!
And additional confrontations with drivers Dewitte considers interfering in his escorting a funeral procession.
Hi! How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
You must have missed that it's 45 through there, and then you use the turning lane to cut through traffic. I understand you're in a nice car and everything, but let's be a little more mature the way you drive. Let's drive the right way then.
Are you a cop?
Don't worry about what I am, because I'm a state agent, so what you need to do is make sure you're doing the right thing, boy.
The driver pulls away. But it doesn't take too long for Dewitte to catch up.
Yeah.
That's real nice.
Yeah, I know.
Real professional.
The way you almost hit me, boy, is the way it's professional, bitch ass.
You're not a cop.
You want to fight?
Violating the rule too.
How's that?
Don't even act like you're stopping me.
I didn't pull you over. Did I make a traffic on you, boy? Come on, let's go, bitch.
Dewitte's arrested again and brought before the judge with 2 more charges of impersonating an officer.
You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for falsely impersonating an officer.
Once again, is released on bond.
About the new cases.
Turns out Dewitte has quite a history of playing cop. He was convicted of the same charge back in 2001. But Dewitte can't seem to stay out of trouble. And after multiple arrests for impersonating an officer, he's back in court again.
Your name, sir?
I'm sorry, Jeremy Charles Dewitte, Your Honor.
This time he's not here for being a fake police officer, but for failing to register a vehicle as a very real sex offender. In 2005, Dewitte was convicted of lewd or lascivious battery involving a victim between 12 and 15 years old.
Mr. Dewitte, you're here today because you're arrested on an arrest warrant for a sex offender violation, failing to register as required. You're also out on bond on 5 charges of falsely impersonating an officer.
The state is requesting his bonds be revoked on his prior cases, giving the new law violation, continued pattern of criminal activity, and he also poses a flight risk.
The prosecution again asks that his bond be revoked. But once again, Dewitte catches a break.
No, I'm going to leave the bonds in place.
As for his remaining impersonation charges, until his trial begins, Dewitte remains free on bond. Next, we're in Tampa, Florida, for a Zoom court hearing.
All right. So we're here on State of Florida versus Jennifer Carvajal.
The 24-year-old's facing serious charges, including DUI manslaughter after a passenger in her car was killed and 2 others severely injured in a high-speed car accident. This police dashcam video shows the car driven by Carvajal traveling at 111 miles per hour on a Florida highway. After clocking her speed, the officer hits the lights and begins the pursuit. Down the freeway, he catches up, but as he closes in to pull Carvajal over, she whips the car onto the shoulder and then skids out of control. After the car jerks to the right, a second camera on the officer's cruiser shows Carvajal's car speeding off the highway and hitting an embankment, sending it airborne. After flying over a fence, the car crash lands into a car dealership lot, hitting a parked truck and then a light pole. At the scene, emergency personnel discover the 2 passengers were ejected from the car. Another was seriously injured inside, and Jennifer Carvajal, the only one wearing a seatbelt, had just minor injuries. Her blood alcohol level was later recorded at 0.10, slightly above the 0.08 legal limit. One of the passengers thrown from the car, Carvajal's 22-year-old cousin, did not survive. Now at the hearing, Judge Catherine Catlin will determine if Carvajal should continue to be held without bond.
So Ms. Carvajal, on the 1 count of DUI manslaughter that still did not have a bond on it, I'm going to grant the state's motion for pretrial detention and hold you without bond on that 1 count.
Part of the state's recommendation to hold Carvajal in custody? Maybe because this is not the first time she's faced a DUI manslaughter charge. The entire situation's a horrific flashback to 7 years earlier when, at 16, Carvajal pleaded no contest to a charge of DUI manslaughter in an adult court and faced sentencing 2 years later after she turned 18 years old. Carvajal was sentenced to 5 years in prison with an additional 5 years of probation that was still in effect when the second incident occurred. In addition to having Carvajal held without bond, the state then makes another request.
The state is requesting that the defendant be ordered not to make contact with either of the two living victims or to the mother of the deceased victim, in this case, Pedro Carvajal, and his mother is present with us today, Your Honor.
Both Carvajal and the victim's mother can be seen wiping away tears as the family tragedy and no contact order is discussed.
Because it's family, obviously some people without any control of their own with good intentions just trying to check on people may very well run afoul of unintentionally violating a court order, but it's not because of my clients directing anyone.
It is going to be part of the order from today. So, Ms. Pizarro, if you'll just add it to the written order so there's no confusion.
Judge Catlin would approve the no contact order. Jennifer Carvajal was held without bond, and her trial is currently pending.
Okay, is everybody ready to listen to me?
Next, we go to a child custody hearing in Las Vegas, Nevada. The plaintiff is Shelby Bachman, and the defendant, Jonathan King. The couple are arguing over visitation rights for their 2-year-old son, Joseph. The issue is King's unpredictable work schedule. The attorneys are Don Procopius, and for the defense, Machancy Kramer.
Because my client is a UPS driver, his schedule, though, is not a set schedule. It varies. So he has to keep her notified of when his schedule is changing so that she's aware of pickup. She has told him now if he's more than half an hour late, he forfeits his entire weekend and can't see the kid.
Has Joseph gone weekends that he would have expected to see his father without seeing his father?
He has not missed one weekend. Not one.
The threat was made.
Not
I didn't
one.
ask you if the threat was made. I asked if it happened. You led me to believe that it was happening.
No.
My client has worked with him at times that it was till Saturday morning that he picked up.
There is a problem here.
After hearing from both sides, Judge Sandra Pomerantz points to the lack of cooperation between the parents.
What I see here is parties not being creative. But these two need to be adult enough to say, okay, this happened, where do we go from here?
But Your Honor, and I agree with you. And so what she's done is on these times where she's worked with him, but then I think it was within the last 2 weekends.
I thought you said you agreed with me.
I do agree with you.
Okay, so listen to me. You're going to be done with this case when this case is over and these parties are divorced. They'll never be done with this case. Okay? So rather than complaining to me, it's a discussion with Mr. Procopius being creative.
It appears the judge has struck a nerve with the defense.
My client has come up with all kinds of solutions, Your Honor, and it comes down to what mom wants is what mom is going to demand.
Okay, I don't buy that.
Well, Your Honor, that's how it is.
What I'm telling you is, have you discussed this issue with Mr. Procopius?
Yes, I have in the hallway.
Okay. And has it been a matter of making demands or saying, what are we going to do?
No, it's a matter of calling my client.
Things begin to get personal, and the judge has a few words for Kramer.
I do have experience with you using inappropriate language.
And you know that I would admit it if I had done it. And if I was going to do it, I would have done it to her face.
You know what? You want to be a sailor? Fine. Go be a sailor in your private life. But don't be a sailor in my court or in my cases.
I didn't.
Again, I don't judge people with sailor language because I use a little sailor language, but only in my private life, not in my courtroom, not to a litigant, not to an attorney. I don't do that because that's not professional. And ma'am, I warn you, one of these days, the State Bar is going to catch up to that. Because if you read the rules, there is an ethical rule about fairness to opposing counsel.
I know that there are also rules about treating people equally without regard to race, ethnicity, or gender. I find it highly objectionable that anyone complains about my language, because I know all kinds of male attorneys who have no problem picking up the phone and screaming cuss words at me. So if I am outside there where my First Amendment rights are in full effect, I will say what I choose to say when I choose to say it, and that is my right in this country.
Are you done?
But after a few minutes of civility, the counselor starts up again.
We've spent, 5-10 minutes talking about nothing that is relevant to this case because I, as a female attorney, am being chastised over language that men feel free to use every single day, and they do.
You are giving me a headache because you're yelling, and I don't like having a headache.
I'm being attacked, Your Honor.
No, you're not. Sit down, counsel. I'm done hearing from you.
Unsatisfied with the parties' solutions, the judge orders an evidentiary hearing, which means the parents will submit evidence against each other and the judge will make a ruling. In a child custody case, it can get ugly.
Your lawyers are going to be painting a picture for me in court. And it's not going to be a great picture of either one of you about the other.
Even after the judge makes her decision, the defense tries one last argument.
Your Honor.
I have nothing more to say, and I want to hear from either one of you. I'm going to set the trial.
I understand that.
So sit down.
The couple's evidentiary hearing is postponed multiple times and has yet to be heard. Now to Durham, North Carolina, where Judge James Hill is presiding over a child custody case. For 3 long days, divorced parents Rashawna and Colin Morrison have been going at it, quite personally, in the courtroom.
I'm angry that his dad lives in Durham, can go on vacations with friends, take mistresses out to eat, take her on vacation, and can't seem to see his son.
The child's mother, Rashawna, claims her ex-husband abandoned their 3-year-old son and failed to pay child support. He argues she withheld his son from him and is seeking permanent custody. And the judge? Well, he isn't happy with either of them.
I could care less about it, dude. I could. The two of you are not important.
And he's about to let them know it.
That's 2 parents, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully here. 2 parents can come in and act like such idiots. Y'all the one that crawled into bed and had sex and made that baby. He didn't ask to be born. But he was. What's important is and we don't need to see 2 adults acting like idiots. Did I say the word idiots?
He did. 3 times. Afterward, Judge Hill turns his attention towards Rashawna.
I have no doubt that you have withheld that little boy. Don't you look at me.
I have not withheld.
You say one more word, you say one more word, you're going to go to the Durham County Bed Breakfast today. You say one more word. All right, Deputy Neville, she's got 24 hours to protect the court for running her mouth as soon as we get done. All right, you got 48 hours. You will say it again. She's got 48 hours now, Deputy.
Rashawna eventually quiets down, and finally, after 3 heated days in the courtroom, the judge delivers his decision.
Both parents are fit and proper persons to have custody of the minor child. I mean, joint custody.
Just say, I can't do this. This is a disgrace. What you guys are doing, you need to let your son for 9 months come raise your son. You're a drunk, you have a mistress, you have no one who doesn't do anything for everything. I take care of my family system, and I get when she chooses to be in your son's life whenever he feels like it.
As officers try to restrain her, Morrison's brother, Sherrod Smith, comes forward from the back of the courtroom. At first, he tries to help by calming down his sister. But when that doesn't work, and Rashawna throws a bailiff a right hook, Big Brother's caught in the middle. Officers try to restrain him, but he sends one of them flying. Meanwhile, the judge makes a quick exit. As one deputy fights to gain control of Morrison, another puts her brother in handcuffs. And here come even more officers to shut things down. As Morrison and Smith are taken away, a third person is also restrained in the back of the courtroom. Their mother.
You should have videoed it. It's okay. You should have videoed it.
Smith and his mother are hit with 48 hours in jail for resisting a public officer, while Morrison receives 30 days. Morrison and her husband now have a joint custody agreement. Judge James Hill received a public reprimand by the North Carolina Supreme Court for improperly exercising his contempt powers, failing to maintain order and decorum, and making inappropriate comments. Meet the man in the fur cap, 21-year-old Robert Peterson. He's the person filming this footage as he enters the Kootenai County Courthouse in Idaho.
That has to go through the x-ray machine if you want to come in this building.
Peterson is a hearing for a minor traffic infraction, riding his bicycle at night without a light. But from the moment he steps inside the door, it's clear this won't be a typical security check.
And I'd just like to know where your warrant is.
I don't need
It's clearly posted on the entrance building.
What? Clearly posted that I have to forfeit my right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure?
Coming into this building.
Yeah, every person is. I'm not a person. I'm a man.
And more specifically, a free man. Peterson considers himself a sovereign citizen.
I'm not subject to your jurisdiction, and the court has already confirmed that. I'm here for one purpose. All right.
You can submit or you can leave.
That's fine. I mean, I'll do that, but you will be charged a bill.
Charged a bill? Rather than escalating the situation, one of the bailiffs decides to play along.
You will be served a bill. I don't have any weapons. I didn't come here to raise a ruckus.
After clearing security, Peterson finds a seat at the rear of the courtroom and continues filming.
So there are no cameras in the court.
Excuse me?
There are no cameras in the court.
Yeah, there is.
No, you have to put that away.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Under what authority?
You have to have a court order from a judge before you can have a camera in the courtroom.
Okay, well, I'm going to capture this on video.
You got to turn it off.
It's for both of our protection.
Well, you have to turn it off.
No, thank you.
Enter bailiff number 2.
Shut the camera off now.
No, thank you. I do not consent to you touching me or seizing my property, so you need to back up.
Shut the camera off now.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yes, you are.
I'm holding you accountable because you're about to overstep your bounds.
The bailiffs then decide to clear the courtroom and question Peterson directly.
What's your first and last name?
I don't have a last name.
You don't have a last name?
No.
What's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert.
As you can see, this bailiff keeps his sense of humor about the situation.
What are you? Are you human?
I'm a man.
You're human?
I'm a man, yes.
Can I see your Idaho state license?
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't.
With the situation seemingly diffused,
Come on in, folks.
the bailiffs usher everyone back into the courtroom. Well, except for one person.
Excuse me.
Camera.
Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement.
I am.
All right. Well, P. Barnes, you just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not. You can't come in with the camera.
Well, you're violating my rights. And this is also freedom of the
People out
press.
from behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man, but it doesn't apply to me. Why are you worried about cameras? Because you want to do something wrong? Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on wronging somebody else. Because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well, please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me.
Step back.
And you're using...
Step back.
After Peterson refuses to step back, Chief Bailiff Pete Barnes fires his taser.
And you're using...
Stop, please.
I'm not doing anything wrong. Hey, you know what? You guys are really overstepping your bounds right now.
Put the cuffs on him.
Put the cuffs on. What are you arresting me for?
The answer to that question? Peterson's charged with 3 counts of battery and 1 count of contempt of court. He would later enter an Alford plea, meaning he didn't admit to committing a crime, but acknowledged there was likely enough evidence to convict him. Jail time was waived as part of the plea deal, and he was ordered to pay a fine for his original charge of riding a bike at night without a light. Next, we head to Bentonville, Arkansas. Outside the courthouse, defendants are being transported to the county jail, including Diego Jose Zayas Martinez. He's been charged with making terroristic threats and stabbing a man. He was just in court at his bond hearing, where his bail was set at $100,000. Watch as the deputy escorts the men to the bus. There's Zayas Martinez. Like the other defendants, he's wearing handcuffs, but his feet are free, so he decides to use them. Let's take a closer look. Zayas Martinez makes a break for it just beyond the grasp of the second deputy, and the officers immediately give chase. But one quickly stops, deciding to stay with the remaining prisoners. Zayas Martinez makes it to the parking lot. One of the deputies isn't far behind. He'll need to pick up the pace, though, if he wants to close the gap. Despite the deputy trying to head him off, Zayas Martinez manages to stay 1 step ahead. It looks like he's just hopped a fence. And with that, he could be home free. Not quite. Later that day, a sheriff's deputy gets some help from a concerned citizen who tells him the man he's after is hiding beneath her house. Zayas Martinez is captured and taken back to the courthouse, where his original bond is increased to $500,000, and he faces an additional charge of third-degree escape.
Do you solemnly swear firm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay.
Yes.
Next, we're in Sylvan Lake, Michigan, for the deposition of 42-year-old David E. Taylor. The man on camera may look like just a regular guy, but to the followers of his multi-million-dollar megachurch, they believe he's truly holier than thou.
Mr. Taylor, you also go by the name of the Apostle?
Yes.
David Taylor claims he was personally visited by Jesus Christ and now brings others into the light through his nonprofit organization, Joshua Media Ministries International, or JMMI. Today, Taylor's being deposed in a divorce case involving one of his volunteers, a woman who donated over $1 million to his ministry. Now, as part of the divorce proceedings, lawyers want to know exactly how that money was used.
On November 29th, 2013, JMMI paid over $6,000 to Louis Vuitton.
Hmm? Yes.
What would that be for?
Well, this is for clothes concerning my TV ministry as well.
June 2014, you spent $3,500 by JMMI to Versace in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Well, that ain't something I purchase all the time.
Well, it looks like you did several times in...
I mean, I'm a very frugal person when it comes to this.
I don't see Macy's.
No, you don't see that, because Macy's don't have the kind of suits that I wear.
2013 and 14, JMMI spent over $30,000 in your clothes. That sound about right?
What year was that?
13 and 14.
Oh, God, yes, because I was traveling so much. Yes, and sweating through all my clothes. Exactly. That probably wasn't enough.
The hot seat gets hotter when Taylor's questioned about the ministry's fleet of luxury cars.
You testified that JMMI owns 3 vehicles, a BMW, a Mercedes, and a Bentley.
Yes.
I have a question, just from you minister to the poor and the sick and all that. Isn't it a little offensive to be driving around in a Bentley and a Mercedes to people that really, are impoverished and sick and ill.
It could be offensive if they didn't know my life.
And the baptism by fire continues when he's asked about a $2.8 million mansion listed as a, quote, residential center by the ministry.
All right, so what is this residential center?
Oh, this is a place that the ministry owns. Well, not own, we're in the process of buying that.
All right, so where does the number $2,844,000 come from on your asset and liability?
That's, I guess, the appraisal value of the home.
Wait, the appraised value of what?
I guess the appraisal value of the home.
The lawyer catches that Taylor refers to the property as a home.
Is it a home?
No, it's a residential center.
While Taylor's deposition was just part of a divorce case, it would later come back to haunt him. After the more than 3-hour video was posted online, the ministry and Taylor himself came under fire as allegations of misused funds flooded the internet. Despite the negative publicity, David E. Taylor continues to spread his gospel around the world. Next, we go to a pretrial hearing in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Jeremy Shue, age 39, is charged with first-degree home invasion, car theft, identity theft, and possession of a controlled substance. The defendant arrives in a wheelchair after suffering a number of strokes over the years. That's Shue's attorney, Walter White.
Any other motions or preliminary matters?
I would just restate my previous request that I be allowed to withdraw from the case.
Shue's attorney just asked to be removed from the case.
Mr. Shue and I have basically no communication. He prepares his own motions. He has asked me to file them. Sometimes I have, sometimes I have not. He's had a series of strokes. I mean, he's in a wheelchair.
Even though Shue's in a wheelchair, not even his own attorney is sure about the severity of his condition.
I don't know what his physical health is, but I know that he's maybe not as strong as he used to be. And so I would just ask Your Honor to consider allowing me to withdraw so that he can get an attorney that he can work with.
I previously ruled on your motion to withdraw, and nothing has changed in interim, so I'll stand by that ruling.
I'd like to represent myself then, Your Honor.
That's right. If Shue can't have his way, then he'll just represent himself.
Well, I would strongly urge you not to do that. Mr. White's been a criminal defense attorney for as long as I can remember.
That's your opinion. I don't buy your opinion.
Look, that's fine. You don't have to buy my opinion, but he is a lawyer and you're not.
I'm a better lawyer than you.
That's your opinion as well. If you want to proceed and represent yourself, we can do that. Jury trial will be the 21st of January at 8:30.
I need time to go through pretrial motions.
January 21 at 8:30. Mr.
I haven't
White.
had no time to go through pretrial motions. What the f*** are you talking about, dude?
Sensing the escalating tension, 2 court officers step in behind Shue in case things get physical.
Well, the case has been pending for quite a while. Mr. White has been representing you for quite a while. So
Mr. White hasn't filed nothing. He just asked to withdraw 2 different times. You keep denying it.
Well, that's the way it is, sir. So we'll see you on the 21st for jury trial.
It looks like Shue's a little stronger than his attorney realized. Watch again, as Shue easily steps out of the wheelchair to flip the table. The officers force Shue back into the chair, but he's not going quietly.
Lift your feet up.
Shue ultimately kept White as his attorney, and it's a good thing he did. White worked a deal where Shue pled no contest to most of his charges and got a reduced sentence of 2.5 years in a county jail. Next, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada, for a bond revocation hearing for a defendant accused of violating his parole. A year earlier, 35-year-old Michael McDonald was released on bond while he awaited trial for charges including burglary, forgery, and perjury. The criminal charges stem from a long and contentious divorce and custody case that ended with his ex-wife being granted a no-contact order to keep McDonald away from her and their 2 children. Now, as he awaits trial on criminal charges, the state argues he violated his parole when he violated that no-contact order.
One of his release conditions was to have no contact with the individual, his ex-wife. Approximately a month ago in June, he then mailed a number of items to his wife's address.
The items mentioned were actually gifts addressed to his children. McDonald's lawyer claims his client didn't know sending the items violated the no-contact order and argues he should be allowed to remain out on bond until his upcoming trial.
He sent 2 gifts, that's it. No nasty notes with them. Mr. McDonald is not violent nor a threat to the community. He has had no allegations of violence.
The defense is presenting McDonald's actions as an innocent mistake. But Judge Kathy Hardcastle knows the history of the case and isn't buying it.
I would note that back in the family court, he constantly violated orders. He would always insist that the order said something else.
The judge also cites McDonald's history of unstable behavior during his divorce that ultimately led to the no-contact order being granted.
I was the one who found that he was a potential danger to his children because he lied to the court about surrendering his weapons after he'd been ordered to surrender his weapons, and that because of his bizarre behavior, putting a tracking device on his wife's vehicle. And so I'm seeing the same type of conduct, and it's an obsession. It's a escalating course. I'm not sure that he is capable of controlling himself because he wasn't before. So based upon that, I am granting the motion.
Moments after the judge makes her decision that McDonald did indeed violate the conditions of his parole, 2 court marshals approach McDonald with handcuffs.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
It's unclear what McDonald is trying to say to the judge as he pulls his arms away. What is clear is that McDonald is not ready to cooperate.
Mike, calm down.
Behind your back.
Yeah. Mike, calm down. Just relax. Breath. Mike, breath.
I got this with about this. Come see my kids. Come on.
Mike, calm down. You take a deep breath.
Guys, come on. Assistance in 15 charges. 15 charges. Stop. Come on. Please, I don't want to. You got it? Yes.
As you can hear, McDonald's attorney calmly tries to get him to settle down.
I'm gonna taser. Mike, stop fighting with them. You can't move there and help them with cuffs on you. Don't fight.
Understand? I'm gonna tase you.
But as he continues to resist, even with the threat of being tased, his lawyers had enough.
Mike, put the handcuffs on, or I'll put them on myself.
Wait, come on.
I'm on your side, Mike. Put your battle on.
As additional officers come to restrain McDonald, he continues to plead his case.
I just want to see my kids now getting prosecuted as an enemy of the state. I just want. I've done nothing.
Michael McDonald was found guilty of multiple counts of burglary, forgery, and perjury in relation to his divorce case and was sentenced to 24 to 68 months in Nevada State Prison with credit for 215 days served. And for refusing to be handcuffed during the hearing, McDonald picked up an additional charge of resisting an officer.
St. John.
Next, we take you inside the Harris County Courthouse in Houston, Texas. It's January 2021. The defendant is David St. John, who's in court for aggravated sexual assault of a child and felony possession of a weapon. St. John took a teenage girl to a hotel, then he allegedly raped her. The 39-year-old already had 6 felony convictions to his name and was out on bond for 3 other charges when the attack occurred. One of his pending charges was possession of the gun that was later used during the alleged assault.
You are charged with the aggravated sexual assault of a child older than 14 but younger than 17.
As the charges are being read, St. John seems a bit shifty. Then, completely unattended, he walks to the front row.
Did you learn your lesson? Did you learn your lesson? Did you learn your lesson? Get on the panic button. Did you learn your lesson? Did you learn your lesson?
St. John repeats the question, "Did you learn your lesson?" before cold-cocking the man. The victim takes off as an officer rushes over and tackles St. John.
Call someone, call someone, call someone.
What was that? What's the problem? Sit down, man. Just sit down. You learned your lesson. Hey!
Even as he's being cuffed, St. John continues to offer advice.
You need to learn your lesson so you don't end up like me. Get up. Get up.
We don't have a panic button.
It's unclear why St. John attacked the man, but as he's escorted out, he makes a final comment.
Don't end up like me.
The victim of the attack seems to walk away unscathed.
Are you okay, Mr. Randall?
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
And there were no additional charges brought against St. John. He remained in jail while awaiting his trial.
Don't end up like me.
Quit it!
You want me to hit you again?
Stay the down!
You want me to hit you again?
We go to Houston, Texas, for the trial of Terry Thompson. He's been charged with murder in the death of 24-year-old John Hernandez. The incident occurred at this restaurant when an intoxicated Hernandez, who's here with his wife, stepped outside the diner. That's when Thompson pulled up with his daughters and allegedly saw Hernandez urinating in the parking lot. Some words were exchanged, and according to Thompson, Hernandez threw a punch. In this footage, you can see Thompson in the red shirt wrestle Hernandez to the ground. He then puts Hernandez in a chokehold and gets on top of him. Meanwhile, Thompson's wife, Shauna, an off-duty sheriff's deputy, arrives at the scene.
Quit it!
You want me to hit you again?
Stay the down!
You want me to hit you again?
Stop it!
There's Shauna holding Hernandez's arm down. But the much larger Thompson has Hernandez pinned to the ground. A woman attempts to record the incident, but bystanders block her view while the struggle continues in the background.
No, stop! Why are you recording? Just stop! It's illegal to record! Just stop!
Thompson and his wife eventually let him up. But by then, Hernandez was unconscious. Realizing how serious the situation had become, Shauna began to administer CPR on Hernandez. Paramedics arrived and took him to the hospital. 3 days later, Hernandez died from his injuries. Both Thompson and his wife were charged with murder and pled not guilty. The trial of Terry Thompson ended in a hung jury, as 11 of the 12 jurors voted not guilty. But since it was a hung jury, the state tried him a second time. This time, the prosecution adds new witnesses and digs into Thompson's past, claiming he was a violent man with a hot temper who had a history of assaulting his own children. They also showed footage of the incident in court, arguing Thompson used excessive force and had a defenseless Hernandez in a chokehold for over 3 minutes.
At the moment, 24-year-old John Hernandez gives up. At the moment, 24-year-old John Hernandez taps out, and you continue. It's certainly not self-defense, and it's murder.
Meanwhile, Thompson's attorney argued it was self-defense, and that Hernandez, who was drunk the night of the incident, was the true aggressor, and that according to his own wife, couldn't handle his alcohol.
He's a mean drunk. He's a loudmouth. He's an ass. Those are her words, not mine.
After hearing and seeing all the evidence presented, the jury returned with a verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Terry Brian Thompson, guilty of murder.
Before he learns his sentence, which could be anywhere from 2 years to life, Hernandez's wife shows Thompson some sympathy.
You repent for what you did. I will forgive you. Because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing else to say.
Now the terms of Thompson's sentence are read by Judge Kelly Johnson.
Assess his punishment at confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for 25 years.
Thompson was sentenced to 25 years in a Texas prison and won't be eligible for parole until the year 2031, when he'll be 55 years old. Thompson did file an appeal with the state, but it was denied. As for his wife, Shauna, she was fired from the sheriff's office, but the murder charge against her was dropped, as the prosecution believed they did not have sufficient evidence to convict.
Matthew Miller.
Now to Miami, Florida, where a bond hearing is underway for 43-year-old Matthew Miller. The previous day, Miller left a gruesome scene at a grocery store after he stabbed 2 people inside. The reason for the bloodshed?
So he stabbed somebody over a chicken Caesar salad that he was stealing.
Yes, you heard correctly.
So he stabbed somebody over a chicken Caesar salad that he was stealing. It's not funny. Could have killed the victim.
Miller stabbed an employee in the chest and another in the knee after they confronted him while he was trying to steal an $8 salad. Miller was arrested soon after, and the 2 victims were taken to the hospital in stable condition.
They shouldn't have gotten involved in a salad.
You're not supposed to steal. And you're not supposed to stab people over a salad or anything else.
Miller may think the whole ordeal is humorous, but the charges he faces could land him in prison for life.
Mr. Miller, you were arrested for 2 counts of armed robbery with a firearm or deadly weapon, 2 counts of aggravated battery, 1 count of retail theft, 1 count possession of drug paraphernalia.
So do whatever you need to do and let me go back to my cell. This is just nonsense. He wasn't even a real person.
Excuse me? I couldn't hear you. Why don't you put the volume on so I can hear him? What did he say? It wasn't a real person?
Right.
Considering the severity of Miller's charges, Judge Mindy Glazer makes it clear she does not want him released from custody.
For the record, I'm making a preliminary finding of proof evident presumption grade to hold you no bond. Good day.
I don't care what you say, lady. My family is CIA. That means we got authority over you and your nonsense.
Miller would later be found guilty of 1 count of armed robbery with a deadly weapon and 2 counts of aggravated battery and was sent to a mental health facility for treatment.